Hey, good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. Doing all right. How are you?
I'm very well this morning. I'm glad that we have this chance to talk. Are you guys on speakerphone?
Yeah. Yeah, we're here.
And so, what is the wife's name?
Sharon?
Sharon?
Yeah.
Hi, Sharon. Good morning. I really appreciate you taking the time to make this video with me. Actually, I want to let you guys know the video camera's rolling. We already discussed that. But it's nice to meet you, Sharon.
Oh, Aaron with an E.
Oh, Aaron with an E. Sorry. I got you on a little speaker thing here so that the viewers can hear you. I'm working on getting some better sound here, but this one should work for now because your guys' connection sounds really good. So, Eric, I can't remember. I remember what we're going to talk about today, but I can't remember what it was exactly that you contacted me about in the first place that got this whole ball rolling. Can you remind me of that?
Yeah, it was more so a concern about picking up the raw foods, if that would affect the baby as far as, the toxins being released too fast and affecting the baby negatively in any way.
Right, okay, good. That's a very great question, which does get asked quite a bit. Okay, so there's raw foods for health. There's raw foods for detox. Then there's raw foods for maintenance. Then there's raw foods for building. And obviously, it's fairly common sense that you don't do a detox while you're pregnant. You do that prior to pregnancy. But in your case, wherever you're at right now, this is the time to start maximizing your potential here to create a healthy child. And this subject is something that I'm very passionate about. Probably pretty much it's at the top of my list for things that I like to study about, research about, and I also think it's also one of the most helpful things that we can open a discussion about. So I'm really glad that you guys called on me and asked for help. So right now, obviously, like I just said, you don't want to do a raw food detox. But for healthy fetal development, I think raw foods is the best. And I will tell you why. And that is because I think that the bioavailability of the minerals in the raw foods is key to healthy fetal development, because the minerals that are bioavailable in the living foods, which haven't been altered by heat, feed the blood. And then that blood in turn feeds the endocrine glands in Aaron, and then the glands reflect the strength of the child's glands. So the child that is being produced right now in your womb is going to be a mirror reflection of the state of your glands. And everyone should know by now that the endocrine glands are fed by the minerals in our food. That's why a lot of people, they're overeating, but they're starving to death. You see what I mean? Because they're cooking everything, they're eating processed food, and it's really creating a lot of issues as far as children being born whole and complete and well. So right now, what you're trying to do, Aaron, is really feed the blood with a variety of raw foods. Not so much on the detox end, like you're like a juice fast is like detox, or a mono fruit fast is like detox. But to create a healthy child with raw foods, or as much as you can within where you're at in your personal life right now, Aaron, because you don't want to have any stress at all from this day and ever, really, but as particularly while the child is growing, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get into that a little bit more. Is what I'm saying making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, are there any questions at this point? Because I can rap. I can rap on this subject, no doubt.
Oh, I'm
You don't doubt that.
That's good though. Maybe what kind of how do you get a balanced variety of all the different types of nutrients and minerals? You might have to take it easier or some of it.
Okay, you're breaking up a little, but I got the essence of it. The viewers might not have, but I'm going to just reiterate the question, which is, how do you get a balance of raw foods? And this has been really huge in the raw food movement now. Some people like only this side of raw foods. Other people only want this side of raw foods. I like to be the voice of reason, if that's possible. And I think that nature's gifts, and in their totality, are extremely useful at different times, and different seasons of life, different seasons of the year, etc. So, let's say if I were pregnant, or let's say I was working with my wife to create a healthy child, I would eat a balanced diet of raw foods, and that would be, moderate fruit, 33% fruit, 33% vegetables, and 33% omega fats. A good, healthy fats. And you can easily create a healthy vegan child. Not that you're intending to do that or anything, but it's possible, and it's extremely beneficial, as a matter of fact. Science is way behind the scope of what's going on. But a lot of times people or mothers, they do need more essential fatty acids and amino acids at the time that a little child is growing in them. But in my opinion, at this time, and I've been researching this quite a bit, but believe me, the scope of the subject is infinite. But I think the minerals are the key. That's why I would say green juices are a great supplement. But again, you wouldn't want to just drink green juice. You would just want to have maybe, one green juice a day would be really good. But if you get 2, 3, 4 green juices in a week, with some apples and celery, celery particularly being beneficial, because the sodium in the celery is going to help the utilization of all the other minerals that you're getting throughout the day. So, some good, wholesome, organic fruits. Watermelons are going to be coming into season. That'll keep everything flushed, and hydrated. And then, of course, salads are really good. And then avocados, hemp seeds and hemp oil will help you and your child's brain to develop nicely, and a strong nervous system. So the fruit is going to help to create electricity in the nervous system, but the essential fats are going to help create a nice, healthy, well-developed child with strong nervous system, like wiring, like the coating on the wires. If your wires are, if you don't have enough, of the coating on the wiring, then you lose a lot of that electricity, and the child won't be as healthy. So there's the minerals and the foods with a nice balance. But the thing is, Aaron, you're going to want to really be intuitive about this as much as possible, because you are the only one. And if you create the intention to, and you have any kind of spiritual belief, whatever it is, and you work with that inner knowing, I call it God, or, infinite intelligence, or whatever, but, if you work with that, and you follow your intuition, instead of like, a lot of women, they read these books, and then they really stick hard to these things they read in a few books, without following their own intuition, which women are generally better at. then there's a lot of stress there. So be very fluid in all this. And then just my recommendation, being someone who's been super excited about this particular subject for a very long time, I would say, hey, eat as much of those fresh, wholesome, raw foods as you can. And then the fats will be the most bioavailable, easily absorbable fats, the essential fatty acids, especially the omega-3s, which is a lot more challenging to get in today's modern diet. That's why I love hemp seeds. And the spirulina can also be an excellent source of protein as well on the vegan end. So I would use hemp seeds and hemp oil. And also the fruits and the greens, and a nice intuitive balance. So there's no real exact, because as you go through this process, it will change, and you'll have weird cravings and stuff. And what you want to do is try to meet those cravings as healthfully as possible, So trying to work with, like if there's a salt craving or something, you may want to just try having a lot of celery on your salad, or eating celery with a avocado, or a nice raw nut butter, a high quality nut butter, or make your own nut butters at home, that type of thing. And then you, last resort is the pickle. But if you really tapped into this thing, and it's real important to you to avoid some of those ferments and the processed salts and everything, and you really want to, and this raw food thing is making sense to you.
Yeah.
Is it making sense so far?
Yeah, and since the last time Eric talked to you, I've really been trying to incorporate more foods, and I've noticed that, I don't want the processed anymore. I'm craving more for the natural raw stuff, so it's nice.
That's really beautiful. That gives me goosebumps. That's so good for the baby. I'm so proud of you. Can I ask you how old you are, Erin?
I'm 27.
27?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You're really strong. And is your weight pretty average and everything? You're pretty healthy?
Yeah.
That's really good. And now the raw foods is really going to feed that blood, feed those glands. And so the raw food thing, there's no one size fits all, but a nice balance of raw foods according to your intuition, And just make sure, what you want to do, Eric, is make sure that there is plenty of options around the house. A bowl of fruit. If she wants to snag up a couple bananas, hook it up. Make sure the hemp seeds are in there. Make sure there's greens, but don't let the greens get too wilted. Just get greens for a couple days, and then keep on shopping and get the freshest, best raw food. And the juices are going to be fantastic, because you're just going to have a real high absorbability right into the blood, right into the glands, and then right into the developing fetus, for the juices. And then the fruits for the energy, to really have a nice, real high energy while you're going through this process, Erin. And then, are there any questions about food? And then we can move into I'm not going to say the food is less important. The food is very, very important, especially the minerals. But there are some other things that you can do that will really help you to create a super child, So are there any other questions about the food? It makes sense. It's you can't make a hard list, but just to say that the best food is raw food for human beings, for living organisms. It's pretty obvious. Why there's still a question about that is bizarre beyond belief. But if you're going to eat cooked food or whatever, try to start with more benign foods like steamed vegetables or a baked yam or something like that, because this process, it can go up and down. But being that you're so young, you've probably got a nice, stable system, being young and healthy like that. So that's really good. And so that pretty much, it doesn't, that subject could go on and on forever. Just making sure you're going to get a lot of really great food source. I mean, you're going to get a lot of the great vitamins and minerals. And a lot of times what you're getting in, say, like a more of a hardcore raw food regimen where people only use certain types of foods and negate the others, you tend to get imbalances, particularly in the B vitamins, not just B12. And that's why, that's why I'm thriving right now, is because I brought so much more of a well-rounded viewpoint on absorption of, a nice variety of foods. And it's just so much more balancing that way. So I think that the next subject is the environment. And so we know that the glands, the blood feeds the glands, and the glands mirror that child's own glandular development. And of course, like, the glands are developed by the minerals, like iodine. So I would recommend, and I'm glad this kind of popped into my head, some of the seaweeds are really, really good, especially dulse. Have you guys tried any of that?
I've tried some recently, yeah. I don't know. What about you?
I haven't, no.
That might be beneficial, just making sure. A lot of the food doesn't have iodine in it anymore. So some of the seaweeds will not only be helping to bring that iodine in, but other minerals as well. And, so when you combine like celery and some of the seaweeds, you're going to be able to shore up a lot of potential weaknesses because of the nature of the soil, the higher stress levels. The oxygen is not what it used to be. The oxygen actually used to contain minerals. So a child, what's interesting about the little tiny fetus is that it's actually condensed materials from the blood. So keep on working on just really purifying that blood. And we'll work into the next subject here, but blood is built by the foods that you eat and making sure you're getting plenty of oxygen. I would highly encourage you to start harvesting oxygen, is what I call it. In other words, just nice, gentle walks in the fresh air. Opening the windows at night, especially now that it's spring and summer, making sure that all through the night you're breathing fresh air. And that's going to help build healthy blood and create a healthy child. And then, of course, we move into the next subject about the blood, and that is the emotional and mental states. Refraining and eliminating as much stress as possible, which the stress releasing neuropeptides in the bloodstream sort of formulates that child out of those energy frequencies. So that's why, if there's any husbands watching this video, and Eric, it's time for whatever things that there might have been in the past, it's time for the man to man up, and just really get chill, calm, and start rubbing feet and start getting into a serious mode of service, especially if you're interested in having a healthy child. It's like, that's what the man is there for when the woman is pregnant. Is like, he is now the servant. He is going to go get plenty of money. He is going to come home. He's going to rub feet. He's going to, bring some raw chocolate a couple times a week and make sure that there is a calm, peaceful environment. The man is handling. The man can absorb the stress if he has to within the environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That's a key here. The woman cannot have stress. She needs to be in the garden, breathing fresh air, knowing that everything is handled, no problems with the finances, no problems with the food. The husband is chilling, he's cool, and he's just taking care of business and keeping everything just smooth and easy so that the wife can be super calm and peaceful. Because that's the huge key. In fact, that is, the minerals in the food is a big, let's say theoretically 50-50. 50% diet, 50% environment. And here's where that gets interesting. Before I go into that, though, are there any questions?
No. Any questions?
No.
Cool. So everything I'm saying is really making sense here?
Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic. Good. I really appreciate you guys a lot. This is something I've wanted to address. So for the next thing here, now we can eat healthy relatively and eat, a good, healthy, wholesome diet, or we can really amp it up with the raw foods. Let's do that. Let's amp up the healthy child with fresh raw foods. Let's amp up the child with a stress-free environment. And then boom, we've got this nice, stable, and the most propitious opportunities for a healthy child. Next, let's get creative here and create a super child. Okay, now this is where I wish my mom or whatever, or all the moms, but this is where it gets fun. Because now, with your proclivities, Aaron, whatever you enjoy doing, you can amplify that. You can actually really affect the creativity of the child. And how do you do that? By being creative. Whatever art, whatever creativity, you can really inspire that within the child. Whatever you want the child to learn or be, which you really want the child to be itself, but you could read books on engineering, okay, and I guess you could possibly imagine what the outcome might be. Or you can do as like the mothers of great yogis, and you can read spiritual literature all day, every day, and absorb yourself in that. The music that we listen to while the child is in utero, while we're growing a healthy child or creating a super child, now we're getting to that level, we're listening to the classical music, geniuses like Mozart, Vivaldi, and we are affecting the child's neuronal development in that way. The brain and the nervous system it's getting developed, and it's getting developed by what the woman is eating, what she's thinking, what she's feeling, and all those things are important. And so you're thinking about that child. What do you want that child to be, and how do you want it to be? So if a mom is stressed, guess what kind of child there's going to be? A stressed child. If the mother is an alcoholic, what kind of brain damage is the child going to have, and then how is that child going to live? But if a mother's really on point, she's going to eat the best food, get a lot of oxygen, and do whatever you feel like you want to do that makes this whole thing fun for you. But whatever you expose yourself to, as far as literature, music, and environment, that is going to be what energetically affects the child. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you like to do, Aaron?
What was that?
What do you like to do?
Oh, yeah. I don't even. I like to paint and stuff. I'm in school right now, actually, finishing up. So, I don't really have a lot of free time for any of that right now, but I'm going to make some, so.
Yeah, well, that's great because you're already creating an intellectual. You're using your mind, you're studying the books, you're writing the tests, and you're creating a child that's probably going to have a really intelligent, studious mind. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Just the real recommendation is to have fun with that. Be happy that you're in school, be excited to learn, and then that will resonate to the child. You could be doing the same thing. That's the beauty of perception of a human being. That's why I try to help everybody get a better perception, because you can be in school and say this really sucks, this is stressful, or you can be in school and say, hey, this is cool. I'm learning new stuff every day. I'm becoming a better person. I'm learning different skills. And so it's a matter of perspective. One person's in school, they hate it. One person's in school, they love it. So what you do is you just decide to love it. You decide to look for the good. And that's what I recommend for anyone who's having a child, is to look for the good. Always look for everything to be grateful for, because then that goes right into the child. And the child is just born grateful with that as a habit, instead of someone like me who has to take like years and years and years to develop that skill and to create those neuronal patterns, which if my mother would have known better, she would have done that, and that would have been autonomous. So in other words, you can basically, if you want to, you can create an intellectual genius, you can create a musical genius, you can create a spiritual genius. Depends on what your proclivities are and what choices you make. But that's the beauty of it, in that you can just do all the good things that are significant and meaningful to you, Aaron, that make life fun for you, peaceful for you, so that that child is automatically has those qualities the day that it's born, and it comes out just chilling. It's like, yo, what's up? Let's have some fun. I'm grateful. The child is 1 minute old and it's already grateful. Or you could have a child coming out crying, sad, stressed. You see how simple this is, and yet hardly anyone ever thinks of this, you know? I mean, I know that some people do, but in general, these types of subjects aren't really discussed, and it's pretty strange to me, actually. We really need to open up a dialogue about this. I don't know everything about this at all, but I really, really love this subject, because I would like to see more healthy children. In fact, that is part of my long-term life goal, is to bring the knowledge of regeneration, not just regeneration of the individual, but the regeneration of mankind. Whether anyone ever acts on that, that's not really my business. I just want to bring that information to mankind so that they can regenerate themselves if they want. So this video, I know, is going to help you at least in some ways. I mean, this is just great knowledge, because I've learned from some of the greatest healers, teachers, and masters on this subject of all time. And so I've just compiled it into an easy to digest form, and it's a joy in my heart. So, is there anything else?
No.
You'll think of it all later.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna absorb all that in, and I don't even know how to express my gratitude for all you do for everybody else, and especially us. So, I hope to touch base with you in December when this baby comes out, and then we can talk again then.
In fact, we're going to sign the deal right now, bro. You call me when the baby's born, and maybe we can do an ongoing series. And, if you guys are into it, no pressure. But we can, start, you guys can call me in December. How was the birth? How was the weight? We'll do a follow-up video. And, we can do a follow-up video every 6 months or once a year and just see how things go. And I can continue to learn about this subject and share everything that I know about it. And we'll just keep on helping everybody to have healthier children, because that's really what it's about, Yeah. So I really appreciate that, Eric.
Yeah, no, thanks. We do too. Yeah.
I will put this video upon the YouTube for your personal review, and we really just touched on the basics, but we don't need to get into the nitpicking details. If you understand that a nice diversified diet and a calming, peaceful environment, is, you do those two things, you've just pretty much, hit the nail on the head, and then you get into the fun part, which is a little more theoretical, not to me, but to the, I'm sure to science at this time. But it's pretty obvious if you understand like how life really works. But you know, that's the fun part. That will be where you can have some fun with this and really just rub your tummy and sing to the baby and just tell the baby how much you love it and how special it is. And no one can tell me that that ain't the right thing to do. And no one can tell me that that's not going to have an effect, because that would be the most ridiculous thing I ever heard from anyone. When you love that child, love is love. And love is the vibration that heals, strengthens, and builds. And you want that child's brain and nervous system and every cell in its body to be built on love. And so if there is a little stress, don't sweat it. Just try to negate it as quickly as possible. Forgiveness. I mean, hormones go up and they go down, and you know, so a lot of things are going on here. But you do your best. You get back to the level, and you say, you know, you apologize. Just basically right now, I would recommend that the man apologizes. You know, just apologize. You know, that's the key here, gentlemen. We have got to be extremely flexible in all manners during this 9-month period, and then forever more, you know, actually for all of our lives. It's not just a 9-month thing. It's a lifestyle of love and service to everyone around us. So that was a really fun video, and I really appreciate you guys a lot. So Eric, you know where to get a hold of me, and feel free anytime if anything comes up, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you guys, okay?
All right, thanks. Bye, Dan.
Goodbye. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. Oh, Muzak. Excuse me one moment. One moment, please. Thank you. And so here is my friend. This is a great book. This is a great book. I'm only halfway through it right now, but I'm going to actually put this over there on my nightstand on top of the other stack of 500 books. Well, actually more like 20. But Creating Healthy Children by Karen Ramsey. This is a great book, thick, full of information. She created some healthy vegan children, and they are beautiful and they are radiant. And remember, you know, vegetarian and vegan children grow a little more slowly. But the more slowly that an organism develops, and science will tell you this, the more slowly an organism develops, the longer its lifespan. And so the humans are in such a hurry to hurry up and be 14 years old and have fully developed breasts and having your period, when it would be cool to just chill it out and just, you know, allow the organism to develop more slowly and really work on, because human beings, obviously, with their gigantic brains compared to the rest of the animals in nature, you really want to work that brain and nervous system. You really want to keep those endocrine glands functioning, and then you work on developing a healthy body so that the brain and nervous system can function. You know, you really, your body is a spacesuit for your life energy. So, but it's all one nice divine flow. Healthy body, healthy heart, healthy mind, healthy spirit. Thank you for watching this video. Check out Creating Healthy Children by Karen Ramsey. There's many other books on the subject, but I think we've covered everything. Not everything, but we hit the basics really well, and I think that this video is going to help a lot of people to understand what they can do to begin the process of regenerating the human race. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to this video, and you can share this on your Facebook. And in case anyone is interested and doesn't know, I have a nice collection of DVDs, and there's always a link down below these videos where you can learn how to prepare these healthy foods in a nice balanced array, 10 DVDs with a nice balance of the fruits, the vegetables, the herbs, the soaked nuts and seeds. So if you get the collection, you can really get your mind wrapped around the preparation of these natural foods in easily absorbable combinations, and that will help to take you to the next level of eating healthfully. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's my honor and privilege to be of service to you today.